Hey, what's going on guys, Nathan here, welcome back to another video. Now I am just continuing straight off the last video because there's more I want to say. A big thank you to everybody who has supported my channel over the last 5 years. We have finally hit 1 million views in total, which is incredible. So a big thank you to everyone there, and you know, that's how I want to start this video. And we are going to carry on into the topic of things you should know before you buy the MT-07. Now I believe I've made one of these before, but I was not very opinionated. This time I am going to be. So should you buy the MT-07, things you should know before you buy it? I would actually suggest you don't. Strangely enough, there's some positives like cheaper insurance because they're a very popular bike, but there's also 100 better things you could get than the MT-07, such as the CBR 600, sorry, the CBR 650R, the GSX 800, that's another one. Also the new Hornet 750. These are all bikes with more torque and more power than the MT-07, with much more technical advances than this bike. So all things definitely worth looking after. So guys, we're going to be mainly talking about the first 3 generations. The new MT-07 has just come out with the new TFT dash, but we're not going to be talking about that one today, just because I don't know enough about it to form opinions on it. I'm not sure about the technological advances. I don't know enough about the TFT dash just to make that opinion, so we're leaving it at the first 3 generations. So first of all, the engine has not changed in 3 or 4 generations. It's the same CP2 689cc. It's incredibly powerful. I'm not complaining about the engine. Like, it does bits, but if they're able to start making these new A2 bikes, like these, they are 4-cylinder 600cc's, 1200cc's, 900cc's, all becoming A2 compatible. So why the hell are we sat here on an MT-07 that can only push out 74 horsepower when you could get something much bigger that is then future-proofed forever? So that's my first complaint, is I feel like we're starting to get stuck in the past, and that brings me on to my other point of the MT-07 is just bare bones. Like, it's at a premium price point, which is fair enough because it's a Yamaha. You're not going to struggle with reliability on this bike. But I just want to say that this bike has virtually no equipment on it. It's barely got functioning ABS. You know, the dash it's not the best, especially on Gen 1 and 2, they're exactly the same. Gen 3 kind of changes the dash, but it's still got all the same equipment. But, you know, my whole point here is the MT-07 is very much the same, with minor upgrades to the fairings, the dash changes. Especially, you know, the new generation I was just saying I'm not going to talk about does have phone connectivity, which I guess is amazing if that's what you're after, but I'm personally not, because that's just another distraction. Also, another thing is a bad thing about the MT. There will be good things, so don't worry, just, you know, give me a couple of minutes to get there. Another bad thing about the MT-07 is it just feels sometimes a bit cheap, in my opinion. A bit, it's not the best. Oh, I hate wet conditions, man. Yeah, sometimes it does just feel cheap, especially with how the parts look sometimes. But yet they're charging a premium price for a very skinny bike, so it does feel cheap sometimes. But it's the bare minimum put onto a motorcycle because it's a learner bike, so you have got to weigh in the considerations here. Great bike, I'm not at all criticising it, I'm just saying my opinion on it and why there's better bikes to get, especially these days in 2023, because these are still quite expensive, believe it or not. You can actually get a decked out R3 for the price of a very cheap MT-07. So, you know, weigh up your ideas here is, I guess, what I'm saying. But, you know, let's get on to some positives of things you should know before you buy the MT-07. Cheap to fill up. It's got a tiny tank, which also means you don't get much fuel economy, but it is cheap to fill. That is not a problem I ever come across, is paying for the fuel. except for when I'm broke at the end of the month. Highly customizable. It's the most popular bike in the A2 category at the moment, so everybody makes mirrors, stickers, grips, adjustments, dash inverters, anything you can think of, everyone's making it, because it's just so popular that there's always going to be demand for these products. So we've obviously got, you know, high customizability. Whee! I'm gonna go this way. We're going on an adventure while we talk about this bike. Another thing is, I don't know if this is just me, but it is very exciting when you're, you know, ragging it about, racing it about, but while you're city riding, it does feel a bit boring, because it's very, you get all this torque low end, which is really exciting, as I said, when you're taking it out places. But when you're city riding, it's like, whoop, ooh, where you just go, it's like a back and forward kind of like tease, I guess. And the power gets a little bit boring in the low end. But it's got a very comfortable riding position. I could sit here for hours and just sit and chill. But I do miss my sport bike, so I might actually be being a bit unfair towards this bike at the moment. But I do very much love it. So another thing moving on to is cheaper insurance. The MT-07 does have some very nice cheap insurance, especially for me, but that is because so many people have it that parts are cheaper, the bike is easier to fix, so the insurance companies aren't going to be so much as out of pocket as they would be if you were riding like you know, the brand new CBR 600, which, my god, I would like to ride one of them. The new CBR 600 is also A2 compatible. That was fast blinking. I'm starting to think one of my rear indicators are out. I'll check that in a minute, but yeah. Would I recommend buying this bike? I would actually. I would. But I'm just trying to tell you guys things you should know before you buy it. And I've probably upset the whole MT-07 community here. I mean, I've ridden this bike for a year now, guys. I'm allowed to have an opinion on it. Extremely reliable. This bike has never ever caused me an issue. One time the battery died and I replaced it with a performance battery, and that was the end of it. I have never had trouble starting the bike, never had trouble with any systems. You just got to maintain it and it's fine. It's an amazing bike, so 100% have it. But in terms of excitement, I mean, looks, it's very plain. Coming around here fast. It's the same as every other naked bike on the market now. I feel like I'm about to die, which I'm not. Lovely. You know, as far as fuel economy goes, I get about 110 miles to a tank in a good week. A week, fucking hell no. In a couple of weeks I do that, because I mainly go to work and back at the moment. So it's just important to keep that in mind. So yeah, high customizability, loads of exhausts. Like I said, you know, is it worth buying? Yes, 100%, but there are other options out there for other types of riders. So if you're a rider that just wants to go fast, ultra torque, A2, I can de-restrict it with one screw, incredible vehicle. But it's bare bones, you have to know that. It is, in my opinion, it is the bare minimum of what should be on a motorbike. I'm sure they're changing that with the newer generations as well, as they're competing in this 2023 market. My chain doesn't sound healthy, probably needs changing. In terms of maintenance on the MT-07, I don't have a problem with that either. God, I'm going really slow. I'm going really slow. Speed it up, Dave. Thank you. Right, but anyway, guys, if you do enjoy these types of videos where we just discuss things about the bike and where we're not sure if it's worth it or not, I can say it is. Buy it, but you have to be aware there's not much to it. So it's fun, and that's about it. But anyway, guys, I will see you all in the next video. Make sure you leave a like, make sure you subscribe, and check out the Bikers podcast, top link in the description. It's a podcast run by me and Talk, where we talk about motorbikes and we just have a good time. But anyway, I'll see you all later. Bye bye.